I had a chance to sit down with Dr. Kweku Opoku-Agyemang, who works on the political economy of development with current emphasis on technological innovations. So international development discussions happen outside of Africa. Do you think that could be the main reason why the projects fail, or most of the time shortfall of the goals or agenda that they plan?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Many scholars are concerned about why so many projects fail to the tune of millions of dollars every year. Of course, there are so many reasons. Many projects are not sustainably funded. So when the money runs out, there's no more project. Other projects are not evaluated well, so we don't know what impacts they are having. But I believe that one of the most important reasons why projects tend to fail in Africa is because they're often detached from the people who have to live with them. So when you talk to people across the continent, it's not uncommon for people to be alienated from the development efforts happening in their communities. So when people don't have a real stake in the success of a program, that is not so surprising that it won't do so well. You know, it's a lot easier to identify a problem or propose a solution. The hard thing is to support local-led change as it's happening. And that is a big part of what is missing, I believe. So I think the main challenge is supporting local-led change and having people on the ground drive the projects. Lots of discussions go for partnerships, but I think it needs to go even further than that.
Kweku, can mobile surveys bring African citizens closer to the organizations that serve them?
So that comes to my research. So I'm interested in using mobile phone surveys. So millions of Africans have access to phones, so there's no reason why we shouldn't know what their perceptions are on development when we want to implement a project. In the past, we didn't know what people thought, but now the cost of cell phones have come down so significantly that there's no reason not to find this information out. So what I believe is by surveying lots of people and understanding their preferences for development, projects will be much more relevant to the context in which they have to, exist.
So I'm from Kenya, and I remember getting a few questions from various, I'd say, private companies. Okay. So how does a mobile survey look like for a person who's never seen one?
Yes, so there are two kinds. You can survey through SMS, text message, or by voice. They are very simple, and the way they work is you have a number of phone numbers of people who will participate, and they receive regular simple messages that they answer. With an SMS message, they will just text 1 for yes, 2 for no, things like that. But with a voice survey, they can just talk into the phone, and you receive the audio of what their impressions are. I find the voice surveys much more useful because, as you know, in many African countries, literacy is a problem. So they can speak in whatever language they're comfortable with, and then you can have an expert translate them for policymakers.
And Kweku, do you think mobile surveys could be used beyond these organizations, NGOs or development organizations, and be taken up by governments to craft better policy that's more geared towards the citizenry?
Yes, absolutely. So many African governments face very large informal sectors, right? So there's very little information on the entrepreneurial activities that are happening, and it's not just important for state capacity, but even for things like collecting taxes. So many African countries have a very low tax base. So by collecting surveys over time, it would be a very easy mechanism to use to collect information. So the way many governments work is that they would have people drive from village to village with paper surveys, asking questions. And I think most governments do this twice or 3 times every 10 years. So that means that the information they get is not representative, right? So if in 10 years you only have 2 surveys, that's only so much. So it will reflect in the policies that are implemented. On the other hand, if you can survey people regularly, my surveys can survey 1,000 people over a weekend.
Wow.
So you can get lots of people in a very short time. And when you bake that information into the policies you implement, I believe that you will have a lot more relevant policies. So if a lot of the time what an expert believes people need is different from what the people themselves want, right? So it's easy to focus efforts in things that are not, what people desire for their lives. So I believe mobile surveys can empower governments and even strengthen the democratic process. When people feel that their voices are being heard by their leaders, they're more likely to participate in the process. Yeah.
So what are the success stories you've come across out there of using mobile surveys?
Well, mobile surveys are still very new. So in my own work, I have done surveys on governance and understanding people's needs in various settings, from health, education, sanitation, and others. But it's still a very early space. Many officials are still trying various pilot programs to test them. So it's still a very early space, but many organizations, NGOs, government officials are very excited about the potential because for so long they have had to rely on very low quality data, and it reflects in the policies we see in Africa.
So, Kweku, the creative economy in Africa is coming up, and it's very, very big, and innovation is the buzzword.
Yes.
So, what is the future of innovation in Africa from your perspective?
That's a great question. Well, I think the future of innovation in Africa is its young people. So Africa has the youngest population in the world, and among the most energetic. Lots of young people desire change in their communities. They're asking the hard questions. If poverty has been a problem for a long time, well, why should it be this way? Just because it's always been a certain way doesn't mean it can't change. So many young people are, starting all kinds of non-governmental organizations, startups. In fact, one of the changes which is very interesting to me is, whereas in the past most of development was NGOs and governments, we're now seeing a lot of venture capitalists in Africa now. And you see it in the startups that are starting and the hubs. So in Kenya, for example, the iHub is very famous. There's the NILAB, there's the Co-Creation Hub in Nigeria, and there's bits in Somaliland and so many others. And I think that it provides a new chance to revisit this question of development and put young people at the forefront. I remember when I was a student at the University of Ghana, I was an economics student, but I was a math student before. And students who wanted to do computer science it was more like a math program than a real computer science program. But even as the cost of broadband has come down and phones are more common, lots of young people are developing software, very interesting programs that I think can give a very bright future for Africa with the young people at the center.